and subscribe.
A lot of people stole things because they were hungry. They had no other means to live. I know people say, oh, well, other people got out the East End and they made it. It's not like that for everybody. I mean, some people are more brainy than others. They have more chances. And in your life, you mean to go one way and you're pulled another. It's not the individual's fault all the time.
The Krays had got something about them that was almost indefinable. To say that they were personalities is wrong because they projected an aura of evil, of power. They would resort to violence at the slightest provocation to establish a reputation. And this they did very, very successfully, so that not only foreigners and people that intruded into the East End, but members of their own gang respected them because of that violence.
Down the East End, the police were sort of natural enemies in some extent, and people didn't come running in with information unless it was to their benefit. They're a community of their own. They've lived hard, they've had a hard time, but it was their ethics and a code of honour that you didn't normally grasp.
The twins ran that part of London like an iron rod. There was nothing that went on in that East End that they didn't know about. If there was a wrongdoing, get off the manor, because they would come down on you like a ton of bricks.
Well, you know, they keep saying about protection. They was running the protection racket. It wasn't actually like it sounds. They would go into a place and say, if you don't give me we look after you, if you don't pay this, you'll be in trouble and all that. People actually used to go to them and want them to look after it and let it be known that they was looking after a place.
There were lots of people that walking into pubs that were taking a lot of money in those days. Remember, we were talking about the early 60s, when live music and good entertainment was throughout the East End, throughout every part of London. And protection money was being asked for. And therefore, rather than pay 3, 4, 5, 10 bullies, it's better to go and ask Ronnie or Reggie Kray, could you just appear for 10 minutes or have 1 or 2 drinks in our pub on a Saturday night? Once it was known as a pub that the Krays used, then that publican didn't have any more trouble.
They only went into people that were breaking the law. You know, like if you had a publican who was having a after-timer, then they could go into him. Or if they had a club where they were doing illegal gambling, dice, spieling or something like that, they would go into them. They want their way. In no way could they ever go into straight people. Because first, if they come into you, the first thing you do is pick the phone up, give me the police. And that was it. So the only people they could intimidate were people that couldn't phone the police.
They were very conscious of the public image. They were. They worked a lot on it. And so what they would do is hire or use one of their own clubs and let it be known that they were organising a charity night. They didn't put their hands in their pockets and say, oh, look at this, I'm shocked about the children's unit has got no scanner or whatever. I'm going to put this money in. No, they would get other people to give it to them. Then they would hand it over in front of the cameras or whatever and take the glory from it.
There was a constant flow of villains in and out, and they would stand at the other end of the bar and there would be whispered conversations, and then Reggie would say, well, oh, wait a minute. And he'd detach himself and go along the other end of the bar and have whispered conversations with these various people. It was then that I began to get my first suspicions that the Krays weren't what they were pretending to be. Very, very honest chaps who were working for charities.
Ronnie and Reggie were always the customer side of the bar with the customers. They were just socialising the whole time. You were never aware of any business going on whatsoever. They were just in the company all the time.
As we always said, if you want to be treated like a lady, you would be speaking to a villain. I mean, I've been invited to lots of Chelsea parties with Hooray Henrys. I've heard language that I would never, ever hear in the East End. When I was out with Ronnie and Reggie Kray, God, there'd be one look from his eyes if anyone dared to swear in front of his mother or his aunt or myself or any other lady in his presence.
Say they used to come to the Astor. You could feel a certain atmosphere. The Kray twins had arrived. That was the atmosphere that people got.
When I looked at Ronnie and Reggie, I could tell immediately, always, they had this violence in them, if necessary. They definitely had it, and in abundance. They had that aura about them, and they were powerful, there's no doubt about it.
They were dangerous people, and they weren't the kind of people that you'd mess around with. If you messed around with them, then you was going to get it.
I was terrified of them, to be honest with you, I was, you know. I don't mind admitting it, you know. It's, they were animals, well, animals, you can't, animals, I've got respect for animals, I've got no respect for them too, like, you know. If they hurt people, they like people to be around them and see it. And this was putting fear into people in the East End. Oh, they were violent, all right, cool, yeah. Charlie was different altogether. Charlie I respected. Charlie Kray, he'd never let you swear in front of women if you was in his company. Charlie Kray was a gentleman. He couldn't help it, because the Kray twins were his brothers. You know, you can't blame a man for that.
The public in the East End rather welcomed them, I think, because they kept some sort of order in the streets. And they had this rather sentimental way of giving to old people's charities and paying everybody's bill in the pub and that sort of thing.
They weren't sophisticated guys. They were ordinary guys, ordinary London fellas. No, they wasn't big, brainy businessmen. They were ordinary guys, but dangerous.
Anyone they knew, any thief they knew that did a job, that got away with, you know, a considerable sum of money of that, they wanted a cut out of it.
They had the brains to realise they wouldn't have made good thieves, and so they went into protection, which they were born to, and they were very good at it.
Ronnie, he didn't like women. The only woman he liked was his mother, all right, Violet. She's a nice woman, you know. And he was homosexual, Ronnie. We knew he liked boys, you know. And where Reggie, he liked girls and boys.
Ron was quite remarkable in many ways, and one of the most remarkable things was that he was the first, I felt I can make out, the first gay gangster in England who actually came out of a closet.
You could talk to him all day, you wouldn't even know he was gay. And never suspect it. But if you saw a nice, good-looking fella come in, some good-looking footballer or a nice film actor who's nice, good-looking, fit, well, he's nice, and you try and make a plate with him.
No one could control him. I mean, the only one that could control him was his mother. No one else.
He's a bit like Rasputin, you know. He's way out. He's unusual. That does become very, very scary. And he was scary. He could be scary. They both could, but not especially.
If he's going to come in here now and cut you or shoot you, he'd do it. You know, all the talking, he didn't take notes of no one. You know, even Reggie, he was dominated by him, wasn't he? Really, we all do that.
And he was a barely controlled schizophrenic, and very dangerous. His madness took over, and he became an enormous problem to everybody.
Reggie's favourite saying, you'll disappear from the face of the earth. And that's what they did. They disappeared from the face. No body, no crime.
Because the nature of homicidal schizophrenia is that it gets worse. And also, as the battles went on between them, the battles for dominance continued and got worse and worse. They were all in competition. And it's this strain between the two of them, that one side of them, they adored each other, they lived for each other, and the other side, they hated each other.
I called them two mad March hares. That's what I called them. They was mad. You can't say what them two got up to. They've got to be mad. The same people don't do that type of thing.
He became increasingly paranoid about his brother, and so in the end, you've got this pair of linked paranoid schizophrenics who were in charge of London, but not in charge of themselves. They were wretched. It was a miserable fate.
It's true that Jules did call him a puff. Ronnie Kray did call Ronnie Kray a puff.
Ron knew he had to do something. And what could he do? If he gave in, the whole myth, the whole of this facade that he built up around himself would go. So he did what a man had to do.
And Ronnie Kray went up to him, and, well, I don't know how he didn't miss, because he had very bad eyesight, Ronnie Kray.
It was Mark. He said, I've just shot Cornell. What, in a pub? You've gone in a pub and shot someone? I said, do me a favour. You know what happened now, they'll have you by tomorrow, don't worry about that. When I think about the Cornell case and all the problems, that was really the beginning of the worst problems I was ever going to have. When I knew what happened, when they told me, I thought, I was just sick inside, you know, and I thought then that this is the beginning of the end. We could have had a fabulous life before all these murders. We had it made and we could have gone to better things. And as I said, you two would have been somebody. You was fating life, and I said, now I think it's gone. You've blown it. Everything. Another father, me, you. We're going to go. I know we are. And everything's finished.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please join our Facebook group. It's called Krays Crime Lords of London. We're a friendly moderated group with over 1,000 Kray and other celebrated gangster videos available for view. There's also thousands of images in the photos sections. The link for the group is in the YouTube description section. I hope we see you there soon.
Leave a like and subscribe.